Won't you take me back to Tennessee?
The award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest info about hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. This episode is brought to you by GSM Outdoors, whose vision is to preserve the sportsman's legacy, fuel innovation, and enable the next generation of outdoor enthusiasts. Think outside. That's where you'll find us. Now, make welcome your host, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're in a different location today. We're at the Rube Ray Clubhouse at Ames Plantation, and today is all about dog field trials, and Miss Amy Snyder is helping me co-host.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Snyder Spencer. We always joke around. What's the last name? Amy Spencer is with us today, and I'm excited about this show and to learn more about dog field trials. And right now, we are at a championship.
We are at the
right now,
National Championship.
National
This
Championship.
is the oldest national championship in the country.
So it's going to be fun. I'm going to learn a lot today because I am the expert novice and I know very little. Amy is the expert here, along with two other fabulous ladies who are experts in this field. Miss Lori Steinshower. I told you I would mess this up.
That's all right.
Steinshower and Bridget Lettington. So it's going to be a fun conversation. Thank you, ladies, for being here with us.
Thank you.
And this is a conversation that I've been wanting to do for years. So Lori is the first woman to ever qualify for the national championship. Bridget came in 2023, so she's the second woman to qualify.
Awesome.
And this is something to promote our sport, because we all know there are not a lot of ladies in our sport. We're a very small majority, but we've got a lot of wins here in this room.
Yep.
A lot of championships, a lot of wins, and this is going to be a fun show.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited to learn a little bit about each of these ladies today, and I think that's where we should start. Just kind of how you guys got into this field, how you got into being in the outdoors in this way, and maybe where you're from, because you're not from Tennessee, right?
Yeah, we've got two Western ladies here with us, so it's kind of nice to have some West Coast representation here, and that's another small minority that is here at the National Championship, and you all are a big part of it. So
yeah, that's crazy that it's in Tennessee too. The National Championship is right here. So.
Well, this has been a home for a long time, but that actually is going to be on another show when we get.
Okay.
We'll talk about that here in a few.
Awesome.
But Bridget, let's start with you, because I know you have been field trialing for a long time with your dad. So tell us how you got into it.
Yeah, so my dad got into field trialing with his first setter, English setter, and I was raised basically walking on that setter. And I grew up in the sport, at least with everybody at every field trial. I was there. All the families would take care of the kids as the parents were running their dogs. And so I just kind of naturally, the horses and the dogs kept me in the sport and growing up in it. And I started running my first dog. I had owned another, my dad switched to pointers. And then in 2009, I think I started running my first dog. So.
And she's right. This is a huge family, because as a mom who field trials, it's nothing to leave the kid in the dog wagon. No, they're not locked in the dog box. That's what people always think. So my mom used to think, no, they're riding along in the vehicle, and then the kid progresses to the front of the saddle, and then the kid progresses to their horse. And
if you couldn't find me, I was usually crawled in the dog box asleep.
Yes,
taking
that.
a nap or something. But there was always a horse mom, a dog mom, somebody there, dog, horse dad,
and it's the same
looking
way,
after us when I was on the horse and running. And then I started scouting for my dad, and then I got my own dog and started running it. So.
And the other day I looked back and I was like, because I stepped in for you for a second, and I was like, oh wait, who's got Colt? And I was like, oh, he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. Because anyway, all right, Lori, tell us how you got into it.
Well, I grew up with parents that had show dogs, and they showed dogs all over the country, and we had a boarding kennel, so I was around dogs from an early age. I did a lot of the obedience training as a young person, and when I left home, I actually didn't want anything to do with dogs anymore. And I didn't want anything to do with the country. I wanted to be a city girl. And I was doing real good at that until I met my husband, and he was a hunter and wanted a bird dog. And I said, well, okay.
You know a little bit about that, right?
Well, not so much the pointing dogs, because we had retrievers when I was a kid, but he wanted a pointing dog, so we got a pointing dog and took it to a kennel to board. And the guy said, does he point? And well, I don't know, he was just a baby. Well, and one thing led to another, and he said, would you like to come to a field trial and ride a horse? Well, I was horse crazy. So I said, yeah, and went to that field trial and watched the dogs and rode a walking horse and said, I'm in, I want to do this. And that's really how it started.
Awesome. So on these trials, what type of horses are you riding? You said a walking horse. Is that normal? Is that common?
Gated horses.
Okay.
Yeah, all gated.
All gated horses, yes.
You really don't want to ride a trotting horse. You want something smooth.
Yeah.
And the old South Plantation horses are smooth movers. And they have to be sure-footed because in the West, you all have a different type of environment here, but just here it's muddy and it's full of holes, but out West, y'all have
Rocky
rocks. Yes.
and mountainous.
Yeah.
They have to be sturdy, smooth.
And they also have to be good with gunfire and good with yelling and good with dogs. And a lot of times if a dog's missing, your horse will see it before you do because they're going to lock onto it. Just like today when you were coming back, mine locked on Joy, and I was like, oh, there we go. And I was looking elsewhere, but I saw him lock on. So the horses are just as they're
Important.
not they're more
They're
than
important.
a lot of people want to call them a tool, but they're not a
but
tool.
they're not
They
a
are.
tool.
It's a partnership, and they are very, very important.
It's a team.
Very cool.
All of it.
Yeah, the horse.
Your horse,
Without the
dog.
horse, it wouldn't be near as fun. It's 50-50, the dog and the horse. And horse not being judged, but they're a big part of what we do. I mean, they're there, and the good ones, you don't even know they're there. They're just thinking with
They
you.
do their job
Yeah.
without you having to tell
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a lot of training. I mean, I'm sure a lot of training has to go into this with the dogs, but also with the horses. Talk a little bit about some of that y'all go through training your animals to do this, and what makes it so much fun.
Big part of what I do is hunt.
Okay.
I'm a upland game
Avid hunter. Awesome. Yeah.
Chucker and Hungarian partridge and sharptails and so that's that's a big part of how we prepare for these types of things is hunting.
Awesome. Yeah.
We didn't mention this, but I have it wrote down. Oregon and Idaho. So when we say this is true upland game hunting, this is
wild
is
bird
it.
hunting.
Wild bird.
This is
Yeah.
truly it. This is not throwdowns, and this is.
Yep, we still have a tremendous population of wild birds in our part of the country.
They definitely need to
Bridget
be good bird dogs to
First.
start first and know what they're doing with that.
If you can't find a bird, you're not in
No,
use.
does. Yeah.
no.
And that-
in these trials too, they're you're shooting, but you're not actually shooting at birds.
No, we're shooting blanks.
Yeah, blanks. So they're well trained in the live event, I guess, out west. So when they come here, they're ready. They know what's going on.
Yeah, and one thing with what we're doing here at the National Championship, these dogs are not retrieving. So they're just pointing. And then the handler's going to go in and flush, and then they're going to shoot a blank. But they're not retrieving a bird because we're not killing any birds. So that's a little bit different than the hunting, but this is just the field trial.
Yeah.
Well, no better way to train them than to put them in the real deal, right?
yes. Yep.
That's cool.
Let's see. I'm going to start with you, Bridget, because you have an impressive number
Of
championships. Let's talk about. I remember I heard your number. I think it was last summer, and I was blown away. So let's talk about your number of championships.
I have about 20 open and about 15 amateur championships, and that's with like 4 or 5 dogs max. They've all been pretty much bred and owned and raised by me and my dad. And so I think that's pretty cool. We kind of just breed to keep our lines going. And it's pretty important to me, good breeding and all of that. I've won the National Amateur All-Age Chucker Championship twice. And then won the National Amateur Shooting Dog Championship 6 times, a couple times with the same dog. So that's pretty important to me. My open wins have been very cool that got me here with Toad, and I'm pretty proud of all those open wins as well as a young girl growing up in this male-dominated sport, let alone just the woman part. Running with these adults not having youth programs as much. I'm a big supporter of the youth programs now, and super happy that they're doing more of those because I ran with the big dogs, you know.
Yeah, you were a kid running against an adult.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And Lori, I'm still standing in something sticky over here. Lori, I can remember the first time I saw Lori, and it was here, and you were handling your pointer, and I was like, that is really cool, and that is something I want to do. And I was awestruck because she was the first woman I'd ever seen handle a dog at the national championship.
Yeah, and this sport, it was old at that time. It was not quite 100 years old, but I think the first year that I qualified here was, I'm guessing, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not wrong, far off, but I think it was 1999.
Wow.
I didn't check the number for sure, but it was the first year, and that was the first year in 99 years that a woman had ever qualified to come here.
Very cool.
Another important point is that you have to win certain championships throughout the year to qualify to come here. You don't just enter to come here. You have to win these big, hard, open championships. And so that was the first year with a pointer named Red Rock Shadow. And I started with him with pretty much a walking dog to an AKC gun dog, which is a kind of a short working gun dog, to a shooting dog championship dog, several shooting dog championships, to an all-age dog, to here. So he and I really, learned together and came through the beginning stages. So that was my first.
And then Lori is now here with her six dogs.
I've been here 15 or 16 times and years. I've qualified a dog, and I've qualified 6 different dogs during those 20 plus years, 25 years.
And Lori also has her own bloodlines, her setter bloodlines. Jaba's the one that I'm most familiar with, but herself, she's very proud of her own breeding and her program.
Well, that was actually Chuck and Kara Cundy's
Yes, it was.
breeding, but I did start them in field trials, and they've supported me all the way through. 2 of the dogs that I have here now are grandkids of Jaba's.
Oh, wow, cool.
And they're still supporting me.
Not only are the handlers and the kids all family, but the dogs are family too. I mean, it's generation after generation. I think that's cool.
And you get to know, I think Bridget will probably say too, when you follow a line of dogs, and anybody that has dogs and has siblings of dogs and relations, there's certain traits that you can kind of depend upon and get to know and say, oh, I know what that means. Or,
I know where this is going.
Yeah.
And love and breed for,
Yeah.
My male painted a Waihee Toad. His grandfather is Riverton's Fun Seeking Scooter, which was here with Richie Robertson.
Yes.
So it's pretty cool that he's here in his footsteps and whatnot as well. So
Yeah, see, it's fun to
just
see the
Irresistible that was here as well. So.
And we're one thing with this sport. We have Steeple Bell, who has a knowledge and a background and lineages. He can go back, and I remember he took my female years ago, and he traced her all the way back to the original female that came over from Europe. So I even have the history, but Steeple is a statistician, and he has all this information, and all this information can be found on the National Champion website, and histories and lineages and prodigy. I mean, it is really, if you're into that, can be very entertaining and enlightening, and it's educational all at the same time. So let's see, let me get here. Talk about something. Bridget, you and Toad had a pretty good performance this year, I have to say. I didn't get to see it. This thing called a job got in the way that day.
Oh, yeah, you have to work that day. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But anyway, tell us about a couple moments there with you and Toad.
Well, I think it was the whole day in itself. I mean, it started to rain. They kind of had said something about maybe not starting this in the rain at the drawing. And everybody around me was like, oh my God, it's raining, it's pouring. They had delayed that morning or the morning before or something. I can't remember. It's all a blur. It kind of started with that. I mean, everybody around me is like, I can't believe they're going to start your rain. Can't do that. I said,
they're going to make you run.
I said, it is what it is. We're here. We're going to make the best of it. I mean, you got to run in any conditions. And I have. For being from out west, you run in the snow, you run in the rain, you run
Wind?
the wind. Oh, the blowing wind out there. Yeah. I mean, dust, dirt. And so I was like, they're bird dogs. We need to go out there. Let's go have fun and do it. And we had a first couple backs with Tom Schenker. I was blessed to be able to run with him. He's a very nice gentleman and been here a lot. And so I felt comfortable with Tom as another handler. And then we had a couple of backs with his dogs, and then his dog went missing. And other people, Randy Anderson has been my mentor the last few years down here, and he's like, once you get the other handler out of your way, you're coasting. We had our first find, and he was just unbelievable style, gorgeous, doing great. And then we just kept having finds in the rain and just kept going. And my scout, Corey Reinhardt, I turned to him at one point at one find, and I said, they started us in the rain. We're going to finish this in the rain. And we're going to finish and we're going to do well. And then we ended up having a total of 7 finds, and just that at the end was unbelievable. Just lifting him up on my horse and getting on and riding to the finish line and being able to be there for 3 hours in such tough conditions. And, all we battled to get here was really emotional. And I'm just proud for him and me and everything. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
It is.
just the whole moment.
Yeah.
We work so hard
Oh, I can
Yeah.
tell, yeah.
for our dogs to look good here, especially because
Correct.
we come from so far away and it's so different.
Correct.
And so when our dogs come here and do what Bridget's dog did, we're very proud. It's very emotional.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. A lot of work.
He's reaching more the end stage of his career. He's going to be 10 next month in March. So it's just extra bittersweet, you know? It's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I could see how that could be tough being with a dog so long, and and they get up into age, and
finishing the 3 hours for a 10-year-old dog is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So.
Very cool.
And we touched on this earlier talking. A lot of people don't understand when we say they think you have to finish or don't finish. But to finish here is truly phenomenal. Okay, it really is. It's phenomenal for your training, your breeding, and for you. It's confidence booster. But there's also a lot of reasons why you don't finish, and people don't understand that you've never been around it. It could be multiple reasons. There's, hey, it's out there what y'all have to beat now. So if you're not kind of getting it done, or that sometimes you're told to pick up.
No reason to bore everybody with the performance that's not going to, not going to beat what's already run. Right. So we have a tendency as handlers to save our horses, save the judges' horses and the people that work here, and pick up our dogs at certain places along the way, that it makes it easier for everybody to get back to the barns and that type of thing. So it's not so much that the dogs that don't finish can't finish. It's just that they're not beating what's already been run, so we pick them up.
Yeah.
And that's hard too, because you don't want to give up, and the dog can go on, but we're not beating what's already been done.
Yeah,
so,
the standard
as a courtesy.
Yeah.
You know what's out there, and you want to what needs to be done to beat it. So, and Lori, you have finished several times here, so you can with 2 different dogs.
Yes. One dog a couple times, another dog once, and like Bridget just said, when you finish, when you're able, it's not the dog's stamina, it's just the whole thing that you say, yes, I can keep going. I'm doing well enough.
It's 3 hours, folks. Like we didn't touch on that, but this is 3 hours. The dog is down.
You can hunt a dog all day, but competing on horseback in an environment like this for 3 hours in all kinds of weather is very tough. It's tough. And yes, when you finish it, when you're able to say, I can stay down, I'm doing this, I'm pointing birds, I'm looking good.
Yeah.
That's emotional.
Yes.
Whether you're a woman or a man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
It's a good feeling. So.
And I will say you touched on something earlier because we've all three faced it. Being a female, handling with a male, you have some good ones and you have some bad ones, and we have to take it as we were dealt it. And and it does make a difference sometimes who you're braced with. If you've got a good handler, you can communicate, you can set things up, you can get through situations, and then there's some that you're just like, you gotta be kidding me. So, but yeah,
I think anybody, a man against a man could be the same way.
They are.
But,
Yes. They are.
So, yeah. But there's definitely people sometimes you're more looking forward to be braced with.
I in all the years that I've been coming, I've never felt like I wasn't welcomed
Yeah.
here.
I agree.
I don't. I mean, there might have been somebody, but they didn't say it anything to my face, and everybody has been very, very encouraging every year. I'm sure Bridget feels the same way.
Everybody's
it's
support.
It's a sport that a woman can easily do. It doesn't require anything that we're not fully capable of, and we don't have to have strength. You just have to ride a horse and train a dog, but a lot of women do that. So I'm sure we both will be together and encouraging any kind of thought process
Find
that a
that
woman
mentor,
has.
find somebody that,
Call us.
Yeah.
Call one of us.
and we have.
That was going to be one of my questions. How
Yeah.
do you get into this? How would you encourage a lady or a man even that loves to hunt a dog or whatever, but wants to get into this kind of
You
sport?
got to go first. You got to go.
Yeah, you can.
And we all have horses that people can ride. And one thing about it, when you get into the sport, there's always someone you can call. I mean, someone's always there to give you advice. I've called you before. We've talked about stuff. I've called other pros and been like, what's going on? But you've got to have someone that will talk you through the situation. I'm sorry, my nose is running. But it's also good to get multiple people's advice, because sometimes the advice, if I get advice from Bridget, it might not work, and it might work from Lori this time, and then the next time what Lori's advice didn't work in Bridget's. It's the dog too.
But I think you do. I think Bridget's the same as me. You've had a mentor that was instrumental really in your development. I mean, you bounce things later off of different people, but I know I owe a lot of what I've been able to do to Mike McGinnis. He was a pro for many years and quit a big number of years ago now and just is a rancher now, but a great dog trainer and very inspirational to me.
great people.
Yeah, and
I was
and
raised around them
yeah,
as well.
And Bridget has the same, person or two in her upbringing that has helped her. So, and I would love to help anybody, be that person. So
Just, going to them, even if you can't ride, getting in the dog truck, trying to be involved,
Or go learn in yard work.
help
with them
do
when they're-
whatever. Yeah.
go to summer camp with a pro.
Yes.
Go do that. There's a lot of ways to get into the sport as a woman.
Okay.
And if you can, ride every brace and watch what they're doing right and watch what they're doing wrong. Because I've learned just as much what they're doing wrong, and that's not going to work for me. But, and then move forward.
And one thing I hadn't mentioned, and we haven't mentioned here, is Bridget is still an amateur. So it's Lori is considered a pro. So, and that's I've had just several owners during the 20 plus years. I've been really lucky fortunate to work for.
Just to work for several great people. The Cundys started it, and I love them to death. They're still supporting me and involved with the dogs. Lynn and Teresa Stinson, from originally from California, now from Nevada. They've just moved there, and they support me now. They're wonderful. They encourage me. and
They got to watch Joy today.
no, that was Mike Eads.
That's
Mike
Mike.
Eads.
So Mike did get to come in here, and I got to tell this story because this is great. So last night we're eating the catfish, the fish fry, and he was like, "I've never had catfish," and I'm like, "What?" So I had to think about it because, wait a minute, oh, that's right. I was like, "Have you had a hush puppy?" And he was like, "No." So we had a really good conversation about Southern food last night at the table.
That's cool.
And then he was really excited today.
Yes,
watching Joy run.
And so, yes, Mike Eads is the third person that, that's supporting me along with Jeff Gilbertson. And Mike was here, flew in from Washington to watch his dog today, and he was very excited. And a female setter. I used to have pointers. That reminds me, I used to have pointers, but now I've just kind of gotten into setters because of the owners that I have. All the owners that I have right now are setter people, and so they're both wonderful. I have people say, "Well, do you like a setter or do you like a pointer?" And I truly can't say that I like one better than the other. I like them both a lot.
Yeah. And I grew up with a lot of setters. I learned to walk on that one setter, but my dad got his first pointer, and she was mine. She came with me, and I've only ever owned a pointer, but not to say I would never go back to a setter. They're great dogs, and I've had them around me. So, but I love my pointers.
That's awesome. Well, before we run out of time, I thought we didn't mention the sponsor behind us here.
Yes, we need to.
They're a huge sponsor for
Purina is the exclusive dog food sponsor of the national championship. This is the 126th running, and as you see, and even the last nine of the last 10 champions have all been Purina. So
awesome.
Yeah, there's no way we could do this in our sport without Purina.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, amateur, pros, they are there for us no matter what.
And the food is amazing. I've fed it all my years in this sport. And it's great food. Yeah. We love
very
Purina.
cool. Very cool. I've learned a lot today, and I'm sure I'll learn more as we hang out here today and enjoy the trials. And Amy, thank you for lining this up, and Laura and Bridget, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And hope you enjoy your stay here in Tennessee. Keep coming back. Keep winning those championships.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Amy, thank you.
Oh, no problem. I hope we got someone excited about the sport today.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Well, this is Tennessee Wildcast. Great shows like this will be coming your way the rest of the year, from hunting to fishing to boating to dog trials to whatever. But just keep coming back, keep tuning in, keep watching, keep listening, and we'll see you next time.
Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org. And follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. You can invest in Tennessee's wildlife future by purchasing a license at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com. That's GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.